the ball rolling. Clutch hits and Adam Jones going deep for a second consecutive game led to a win, and it was nice to have Matt Wieters back behind the plate. Today, Ubaldo Jimenez takes the mound against his former club as the O's go for 3 straight wins. It's up next from Cleveland on Massey. It is a cool and breezy day in Cleveland, Ohio, as the Orioles get set to take on the Indians. Today, it's the middle game in this 3-game weekend series, daytime baseball at Progressive Field. And hi, everyone, I'm Jim Hunter. The Orioles have won back-to-back games, and they have seen some balance return to the lineup. On Thursday in Houston, 5 different hitters had base hits, and last night here in Cleveland, 7 different hitters came up with at least a base hit. But in each win, it was Adam Jones that had the big blow, and maybe, just maybe, he's regaining that form that he showed in April when he was the best hitter in the American League. Remember, in April, Adam batted .400 for the month, 5 home runs and 19 RBIs in just 20 games. In May, slipped down to .239, just 1 homer and 7 RBIs. But so far, early June, he's back up to .368, home runs in each of the last 2 games. He brings a 3-game hitting streak into today's game, and all 3 of those games have been multi-hit efforts. And Jim, it's amazing. When Adam Jones is swinging, this team has a totally different look. And in each of the last 2 games, his home runs gave the Orioles a lead.
Well, they did. And in Houston, you had lost 5 in a row. Houston playing very well, as are the Cleveland Indians. But the one hanging slider from Qualls, I mean, he hit it. The Orioles win 3-2. So getting good pitches to hit. I mean, it started right here off of McCullers, who struck out, 11, throwing 96, shot a ball into right field. Here's the home run, 2-2 at the time. Keuchel had started the game 7-1, American League pitcher of April and May. And all of a sudden, they're on the scoreboard last night. Markham pitched pretty well. One really glaring mistake, hanging slider. He hit it 431 feet up to left center field. And the other thing about not only Adam Jones, but again, 3 multi-hit games, but it's where he's hitting them. We saw the triple to right field down in Houston. All of a sudden, he's hitting the ball back up the middle. So, when you're hitting well, Jim, as you know, you're hitting .400, you think you can hit everything. And that's pretty much what May was about, .239, as you talked about. But now, all of a sudden, I told him, be the .330 Adam Jones. That's the guy that uses the whole field.
So today it is the middle game of this 3-game series. Orioles trying to make it 3 straight wins for just the 2nd time this season. To you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Breezy day here in Cleveland, middle game of 3 against the Indians, and what the Orioles are looking for is continuity. When will they get their team back they envisioned in spring training? J.J. Hardy is back. He's played in 25 games, but he missed 29 games to begin the year. And Jonathan Schoop played in just 9 games before his knee injury. He has missed 45 games and counting, and that Keystone combination has not played 1 game this season together. We spoke with infield coach Bobby Dickerson about the frustration of having a plan and then injuries getting in the way.
Well, we went into spring training and looked like we were going to be pretty strong in the infield, and then we had a couple injuries early, and JJ went down before spring training ended, and we just try to give Buck options. We try to take Cabrera did a nice job overall for us while he played. Paredes has stepped in, Navarro's come up. We're just trying to keep the boat afloat, until all the guys come back.
Are you pleased with the effectiveness of the infielders that you've used, despite the fact that it seems to be a different combo, not every game, but very many games?
Well, yeah, I think overall we've done a decent job. We're always striving for perfection. We want to catch every ground ball that's hit. We want to turn them into multiple outs if possible. We've failed to turn a couple double plays. There have been some tough ones. We've had some ground balls go through our infield, but when you look at number-wise, we're still decent in the league after going through a rough April, and we're still okay as far as defense. We still have some things to clean up, but for the most part, again, we're looking for perfection.
How important is it with J.J. Hardy back in the lineup and what he means overall, in particular to the other infielders?
Well, J.J.'s the captain. Really is. His presence, the calming of his presence is what it is. He's not the super run-around type shortstop athletically, but when something happens in the game in tight situations, the guys can look to him, and he keeps the game going slow for the other guys. He's able to talk them through tight situations and keep the game at a pace that we can handle it.
One thing we're all realizing now is how important Jonathan Schoop is to this team. His absence is really glaring.
Yeah, Jonathan's arguably the best double play turner in the major leagues. His arm strength really makes up for a lot. He's got quick hands, and he's got good instincts there. So when we get a chance to turn a double play, it looks like maybe there ain't much of a chance, but he turns it into a chance because of his arm strength.
One thing about the team, and you alluded to it, the defense, even with all of these changes that we're talking about, finally is playing as everybody expected it would.
Well, it's a long season, and we look at law of averages. We had a rough April. Some plays that we typically don't make were made, and one of the things I have talked to the guys since I've been here 3 years is I want to be accountable for throwing errors. I want not the person that threw the ball, but the person catching the ball. If you're a shortstop and you're taking a throw from a catcher, when he lets the ball go, I want him to feel comfortable he can just get it close, and we will handle the throw. And we've had a couple of those balls go into center field, causing throwing errors for the catchers. We've had some throws at first base not be picked. We've had some throws at second not be picked. And although those are bad throws, we expect each other to pick up our teammates, to take care of throws. We've had outfielders throw the ball in and bounce off of our chest and advance the backdoor base. And those are type of errors that we can eliminate by being accountable for those throws.
Well, the Orioles have used 6 different second basemen on the year and 3 different shortstops, but despite that, Jim, an Oriole infielder has not committed an error since May the 21st. They really are coming together regardless of who Bobby Dickerson and Buck Showalter put in.
Well, you're right, and the other thing is I think if you listen to Bobby Dickerson, you know how lucky the Orioles are to have him as the infield coach. He's very good at what he does as far as teaching, and he's also kind of a disciplinarian. He had Manny Machado coming up through the minor league. Nobody knows Manny better than Bobby, and so I think he's on point. If guys don't do what they're expected, you will hear about it, and that's the way it's supposed to be. This is the big leagues.
And it's all about accountability, as he said. Here's our BGE home game time temperature. A very cool 60 degrees. It is breezy. Winds out of the north-northeast at 19. That humidity on the rise at 71%. BGE Home is Baltimore's home for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? So the middle game of 3, let's take a look at the O's starting lineup, brought to you by Southwest. You can book your low fare now at southwest.com. Machado, Young, and Jones up top, with Davis, Wieters, DHing, and Pierce in the middle. J.J. Hardy at shortstop bats 7th today. Good career numbers head-to-head against the Indians. Ryan Flaherty bats 8th. Caleb Joseph will catch and bat 9th.
And the youngster, 25 years old, out of Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, which is actually where Ubaldo Jimenez comes from. So a lot of fastballs. I mean, why not? I mean, it's in the mid-90s. A breaking ball, slider, and then the changeup is really a splitter. It's a strikeout pitch. It's a ground ball pitch when he throws it well. The one thing is that he's never been wild, never Jim Palmer wild, where he almost walked 1 an inning. But he could walk 1 every 2 innings. Look at notice the walks, only 16. And again, this will be his 10th start. So the reason you see right-handers in the lineup, you can see 248 by the righties, the lefties a little bit lower, and then the home runs even. And this is only going to be a second start. He actually pitched game 3 of an August series when the Orioles came in last year. I think it was Kluber on Friday night, and then it was Carrasco, who they're going to see tomorrow. They lost both of those games. He's pitched very well, but the Orioles actually just played a little bit better and got a couple of runs off.
Salazar is tied for 9th in the American League in wins with his 5, and as Jim mentioned, he's lost only once in 9 starts, so he is certainly pitching very well.
Well, they get him a bunch of runs. I mean, they're almost scoring 8 runs a game for him.
That helps.
And it's not, I mean, it's not that you don't want to pitch well. It's just when you get him, it makes it maybe relax a little bit more. It's one of those days, though, Jim, because of the breeze. Let's see if it affects the grip on the baseball.
Manny Machado, first ball swinging to deep left center field, but the wind holds it up. And over to get it is Michael Bourne, the center fielder. So 1 pitch, 1 away in the Oriole first.
Let's take a look at the defense. 33 errors on the year. Brantley, Bourne, and Moss. That's the outfield. Chisenhall, Ramirez. Jose Ramirez comes in. He has been struggling with the bat. Kipnis, the American League Player of the Month in May at second base. Santana, the walk leader, and then Yan Gomes back in the lineup after missing most of April with a knee problem. Yeah, good day to throw fly balls.
Yes.
I mean, the wind is howling in.
Well, you can see the flags out there in deep right center field, blowing straight in towards home plate, occasionally towards the left field foul pole as Delman Young fouls it back. And it's quickly 0-2 on Delman. Well, the big 3 on the Orioles, Adam Jones, Jimmy Paredes, and Delman Young, batting .303 combined. The rest of the team 232, 374 runners in scoring position. The slugging is up, and the extra base hits 43 by just those 3 players combined. And Delman in the number 2 spot today. Buck has been moving him around. He's batted cleanup, he's batted 5th, he's batted 6th, but today in the number 2 spot. The Orioles really still without what would be a traditional leadoff hitter. Manny Machado's doing a pretty good job there, but he's not really what you would call a leadoff hitter.
Manny's highest average, which is 278, is hitting number 2. Now, Buck really thinks he should probably hit 6th, but doesn't have that luxury. Your leadoff guy, at least from last year, is in Atlanta, and nobody else has really stepped up. I mean, they've tried other people. Yeah, Manny's not a prototypical guy. I mean, he's hitting home runs like he did last Sunday when he hits 2. He's a great leadoff guy, but he doesn't really walk his way on base a whole lot.
Delman really battling here as he fouls off another one.
Well, you're hitting off 95, and if he throws you a split or a slider, you hope he hangs it. The split, of course, it starts as a strike, and the intent is to go down. So you can see a lot of pitches in the middle of the plate because his fastball's straight, but he does have really good velocity with it. And there's another one.
He's already seen 7 pitches. And he's already fouled off 4 in this at bat.
Yeah, the highest amount of pitches in his second start was 115, along with the 4th start of the year. Typical is right around 100.
Weak ground ball to third. There's Chisenhall, and the scoop on the back end by Carlos Santana to retire Young, 2 away.
Yeah, it looked like Lonnie Chisenhall was trying to get the perfect bounce, and by that time the ball got there very slow, and then he actually had to get a short hop, so he's just waiting for the good bounce, waiting, and ball comes up. But again, by that time he realized, well, I better get it over there, and then his first baseman Santana bails him out. That's what Bobby Dickerson was talking about.
Sometimes you have to pick the errant throws.
Yeah, when you look at the Orioles on the year, 28 errors, 19 of the 28 are throwing errors. Santana helping out Chisenhall there. Here's Adam Jones. Swings through 95. The 95.5 mile per hour fastball is what Salazar brings, and he leads the major leagues in strikeouts per 9 innings. There you go, 11.7.
Well, that's pretty good company right there. You got 2 Cy Young Award winners. Shields won 7 games with the Padres, so he's been red hot. Ooh, there's a slider. And actually, sometimes I was talking to Rick Manning, who I used to pitch against. He does the TV here. He says sometimes the slider and the splitter look alike. And that appeared to be a slider, but I think it might have been a split-fingered fastball. They have the same action. They both go down.
Ahead of Adam, 1 and 2.
There's another one, but this time he takes it. Yeah, I think what we've seen, and we talked about it in the opening, is that all of a sudden the average, which went from 400 in April to 239 and now up to 368 in really a kind of a short period of time in June. Adams willing to go to right field.
He goes to right center field. He got a lot of it. That ball is going to get beyond Bourne and get down and go to the wall. Adam Jones extends his hitting streak to 4 in a row. He hit it into the wind, and it's still carried to the warning track.
And he hit it to right center field. I joke about it, but when we walked in on Monday, I said, or actually yesterday, I said, hey, you got to be the 330 Adam Jones. The 330 Adam Jones swings and strikes, and he uses the whole field. The one that hits 280 every year swings at everything. The one that hits 239, like in May, he swings. By the time you wind up, he starts swinging because he wanted to do it by himself. Now all of a sudden, much more disciplined at bats, and it's showing off.
Well, that was a 5-pitch at bat, and he gets a 2-out double, so a runner in scoring position for Chris Davis. And Chris will take a strike. Chris continues to lead the Orioles in RBIs with his 32, and he is tied for 6th in the league with those 12 home runs.
Yeah, he's just about even ground ball, fly ball, and that's a little bit unusual because he's usually a fly ball hitter. 44 on the ground, 43 in the air. There's the splitter or slider that he's able to check.
But Gibson felt he checked in time.
Yeah, Salazar would be a guy that would give Craig problem talking here today. Chris Davis, I think. Salazar would give Chris Davis a little trouble if he can spot that 95 up and in. And that will be the dilemma for him. Can he do that? Without over the plate, Chris becomes a totally different hitter. So he tries to go in and misses.
Salazar in his 3rd season. He signed with the Indians when he was 16 years old back in 2006. Slowly made his way through their system. And a good take, ball 3.
I had the Tommy John surgery and missed a year. That was early on, so they've kind of brought him slowly through their minor league system. Last year started at Columbus and then came up and had a nice year for him.
Good cut, and he found it back. Well, Danny Salazar, we mentioned he's 5-1, and his only loss was a month ago yesterday when he lost in Kansas City. He pitched pretty well, but he allowed a 3-run first-inning home run to Eric Hosmer, and the Indians never recovered from that. So 1 loss on the year, and it was a month ago on May the 5th. Well, full count on Davis, 2 down with Jones at second. And he got it. Off-speed pitch dipped under the swing. Davis down on strikes, and the Orioles strand Jones. Well, that's to the bottom of the 1st. Indians come to bat, no score. Birds play this weekend series in Cleveland. Here's the Indians lineup for this day game. Kipnis, Santana, Michael Brantley in the number 3 spot. An RBI in 6 of his last 8 games. Brandon Moss, Nick Swisher will DH today. Then Chisenhall and Gomes with Bourne and Ramirez against Ubaldo Jimenez.
And Ubaldo, there you go. Fastballs, 2 seamers, a lot of them. I mean, he has a 4-seamer, but he tries to throw strike 1 with a fastball around the knees. The breaking ball is a slider or a curveball, one of those two, and the changeup is split-fingered fastball. He really pitched well in his last game. Left with a 2-1 lead with a man on, nobody out. Brad Bach came in the 7th inning, had one of his poor and not very many of those performances. Gave up the 1 home run to Valbuena on a hanging splitter.
Fastball misses outside to Jason Kipnis.
Yeah, if you look at the 2 numbers, as we mentioned, 2 starts, 1 here and 1 in Baltimore. I think he got Corey Kluber in both of those games, who won the Cy Young, but he just did not throw strikes. Here he got hurt. I know Santana hit a home run over the center field fence. Brantley hit one. So again, this is a team that has been playing pretty well. They had some good at-bats last night. Chris Tillman.
And there's a strike, so 2-1 on Kipnis.
And they know him. I mean, because Ubaldo pitched for him for, 2.5 years. 13-9 the year before last. A 4-0 September. There's a hanging splitter that Kipnis chases out of the zone.
Well, Ubaldo, 74 games as an Indian. He went 26-30. He is 13-13 on this mound. Lined into right field for a base hit. Delman Young trying to cut it off, and he does. What a play by Delman. He holds that to a long single.
Yeah, bullet into right field. Yeah, again, this is what you were describing, Jim. He gets to it very quickly. And I think everybody knows that he has a accurate, strong throw. Pierce, Jones, Young, that's your outfield. Machado, Hardy, Gold Glovers over on the left side, Flaherty, Davis, and then Caleb Joseph. Matt Wieters is not catching today, as you can see, but he will be the DH.
There's Carlos Santana at 234, but he's 7 for his last 21. He's had only 1 at-bat against Ubaldo Jimenez, and in that at-bat, he homered.
That's the center field home run. Now, I saw some guys hit some balls out in batting practice to kind of right center, where the new park area, plaza area is here, but you got to really hit them, and they got to hit them low.
Kipnis diving back. Ubaldo making his 11th start. He has not won in his last 4 starts overall. And a breaking ball is taken for a strike. 1-1 on Carlos Santana. The Orioles starters are 15-24 now because of that tough stretch. And the starters' ERA is 4.28. Santana, he's not going to swing unless it's where he likes it.
No, 42 walks. We saw that last night. He walked 2 times last night. If you do get one in his zone, 27 home runs last year.
Inside.
I asked his hitting instructor, Ty Van Berkeley, I said, so how come the average is low? And he said, just because he sometimes maybe swings a little bit out of control. You watch him in batting practice, he can stay inside, hit line drives all over the ballpark.
Bouncer into the shift. There's Flaherty, goes to second, 1. That's Machado back to first and a double play. That goes 4-5-3, erases the base runner and 2 men down.
Kind of what your interview with Bobby Dickerson, the infield coach, talked about. Well, the great thing about Flaherty, he's got great hands, so he's going to come get the ball. And it's not an easy hop, it's a short hop. And then you have a shortstop who's playing third base, Manny Machado. So right here, he's able, because of his quickness, to avoid the runner. Kipnis gets down there. His intentions, well-intentioned, is to try to break up the double play. Just couldn't get there quick enough because of the agility of Manny Machado.
Yeah, Manny's got 16 consecutive games since committing an error. And that was the last error by an Oriole infielder back on May the 21st. So nicely turned there. Gets Ubaldo out of possible early trouble if he could get by Michael Brantley.
Well, we saw that in the inning number 1 last night. The walk to Santana, and then Brantley hit a ball sharply, but right over to Machado at third. They turned a double play. Tillman was out of the inning.
Michael Brantley 10th in the league in batting at .303. And he's got a 5-game hitting streak going. He's 0-2. He is the toughest hitter in the American League to strike out.
Well, he's a guy, and if you watch him hit, whether it's game or batting practice, we always talk about the ball is A, point A, and somehow you have to take point B, which is your bat head, and sync them up. You know, what's the plane of the bat head to the ball? Can you, how short is it? Is it a long swing? So on and so on. This guy, he knows how to get from point A to point B. And he swings under control, and I think you really have to make a decision. Hit .320 last year, 20 home runs, 27 home runs. So you have to make a decision. Give him a single to the left, kind of like George Brett. Just a real solid swing.
So the toughest batter to strike out in the American League strikes out here to end the first. So Ubaldo, a nice start. We'll head to the second inning. Birds come to bat in a scoreless game. Pasadena has won $500 for being selected and will win $500 more for every Orioles home run hit in the game today. You can play baseball buck scratch-offs and win up to $50,000 or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Just visit mdlottery.com/baseball. Those fans here at Progressive Field.
Yeah, I think it depends where you're sitting, whether you're comfortable or not. If you're sun splash to those fans, and maybe the wind is being knocked down by the stands. If you're in the shade and wind's blowing in, if you're down the third base side, it might be a little bit cooler. Well, I can tell you, if you can throw some fly balls today, really tough to get. If they elevate the ball at all off the bat, hard to hit one out of here. And then tomorrow, the wind's going to turn around, and it's going to be around 80.
Matt Wieters gets one high in the air to right field. Brandon Moss is shading his eyes. And he's got it. So maybe tomorrow that would go. Not so today, as Wieters is a fly ball out. Well, the Birds are back home on Tuesday. They'll begin a 3-game series against the rival Red Sox. Now, good seats still remain for each game, but they are going fast. Plus, Tuesday, as you know, is Ollie's Bargain Night. Presented by Ollie's Bargain Outlet. All the upper reserve seats are just $10 when purchased in advance. So help us paint the ballpark orange. For your tickets, visit Orioles.com or call 888-848-BIRD. Steve Pearce in the lineup today. Get an extra right-handed bat in there. Last night, the two lefty outfielders played, Snyder and Lowe. Today, the two righty outfielders are playing, Young and Pearce.
Yeah, Buck calls those reverse splits, where the righties hit Salazar better than the lefties. Home runs are even, but the average about 27, 28 points. And again, there's not a lot of at bats by Oriole hitters because Salazar that only that one start. And if you go back to the one start, Chris Davis was 1 for 2. Pierce hit a big double, and then Young was actually 3 for 2. 2 for 3, excuse me.
Towards the middle, and it gets past Kipnis for a base hit. Pierce is on with a 1-out single. So Steve found a hole in the shift, and he gets a base hit, and that's a good sign for the O's as Pierce seems to have that stroke coming back.
Well, he did it off Colin McHugh. He got a breaking ball up, and Houston hit it to right center field. Again, he's a better hitter too when he uses more of the field. If you come up with pull hitter and pitchers make their pitches, which is what the month of May was, the Oriole opponents against the Oriole hitters, that's how you don't hit well as a team.
J.J. Hardy now 1 out, 1 on. He'll take strike 1. J.J. 1 for 4 in the game last night, returning to the lineup. His first start on this trip. And a little low, good take. For Salazar, this is his first start this year against an AL East opponent. And it's only his 4th against the division in his young career. He is 1-2 against East Division opponents, and as Jim mentioned, 0-1 against the O's.
Yeah, I think he does strike out a lot of people, over 11 per 9 innings. But I think you're going to get some fastballs hit today. Now, whether you hit him or not is a whole other thing, because he likes his fastball, and why not? There's his pitching coach, Mickey Callaway. He's a terrific pitching coach. Just to throw as many strikes as he does, really had to work on the windup. There's the splitter. So when you get your pitches to hit, and then when you don't hit them, that's when he goes to the secondary pitch, and the splitter is very tough to track. Great angle right here. You can see the ball drop. You think it's going to be in the zone, and it isn't.
Well, Salazar picks up his 2nd strikeout, and here's Ryan Flaherty playing again at second base today. Ryan has that average up to 265. He is 5 for 16 on the trip, and he now has 6 multi-hit games. Here's our American standards. Who's hot, who's not?
Well, Ryan comes back from the groin injury on and off the DL. Swisher, who's had the double knee injuries, he's in the lineup today. We'll see him. But those numbers tell you he's not getting to play a lot.
Celebrate the season with the American Standard All-Star event. You can visit MidAtlanticComfort.com for amazing rebate and financing opportunities.
There is Nick Swisher. Getting ready to take off, it looks like.
Cool shades.
Flapping the wings. Getting loose.
One is fouled back. 1-2 on Flaherty. The Orioles have won 2 in a row for an 8th time this year. They have won 3 in a row just once. That was April 25th through the 29th. They won the final 2 games of the Red Sox series after dropping the opener, and then the riots in a couple of days, games that were postponed. Then they won the 1 game against Chicago. That's their only 3-game winning streak of the year. Trying to equal that with a win here today. And he gets Flaherty. So Flaherty down on strikes, back-to-back Ks, and the inning ends. Base hit, a man left, mid-second, no score. So which team has the best on-base percentage with leading off an inning? That happens to be the Cleveland Indians.
And it went up in the first inning. Kipnis singled into right field. And then Santana bounced into the double play to erase that.
Nice crowd on hand, not as large as last night, the fireworks night, but Oriole fans taking advantage of available seats to see their team on the road. Youngsters enjoying it, I think. Here's Brandon Moss, and Ubaldo misses low. Yeah, the batting donut for the Orioles was still on the field, and home plate umpire Chad Fairchild wanted the bat boy to move it, and he did so because he was ordered to do so.
Donut? Did you speak about donuts?
Donuts. You want a donut?
No. I would, but I just don't eat them. Used to go to Oakland. Used to have 3 boxes of Winchell donuts. They don't do that anymore. The Orioles eat very healthy, thanks to Brady Anderson.
Yep.
And it's mandatory. If you want junk,
you got to find it.
Yeah, you got. Well, yeah, you need to really scrounge around.
3-0 on Moss leading off. And Ubaldo loses him. So a poor pitch walk to begin the second inning. Back-to-back innings. Leadoff man gets on for Cleveland.
Yeah, that was the Ubaldo Jimenez they saw last year. Both of his games just didn't command his stuff, and that gets you into troubles. So again, that average will stay the best leadoff average. It'll probably go up a couple of points because Kipnis, but invariably when the first guy gets on year in, year out, chances are about 50-50 of scoring. And in this case, it just kind of opens up some holes, even though they play him to pull.
Well, here is Nick Swisher. He is a struggling hitter, not playing every day. And outside, so 5 in a row outside to begin the inning. Swisher is 0 for his last 13.
Yeah, he's always been able, when healthy, and that's not the case now, to be able to work the count with the best of them. Came out of the Oakland organization. You know, one of those guys would strike out 100 times in the minors, but walk over 100 times. And then a home run guy because he sits on pitches. He came up during the Billy Bean Moneyball years. High on base percentage, home runs, and strikeouts.
Check swing. Appeal to third.
Yeah,
Didn't go.
I mean, it almost looks like a swing. And of course, if you're pitching, you want it. If you're a hitter, you want it to call the ball.
Ubaldo with 1 walk now and 1 strikeout early on in this game. Popped him up. That'll be back near the grandstand, and the wind is going to make sure it stays in the grandstand.
Yeah, one of those games where if the wind was the other way, and that may be the case, it'll blow it back onto the field of play. Today, if it's down the right field line, the wind may affect it. It may come back a little bit, but anything to the left side of the diamond is probably going to blow it towards the stands.
Easy day along the shores of Lake Erie.
But pretty.
Oh, it's a lovely day. Nice day to walk back to the hotel.
We'd have to entertain that.
If you would like to join us.
I don't even know where my hotel is. That way. It's over the scoreboard. I headed back there last night, and of course the fireworks were going off. During the game, the Orioles scored 5 runs, like a firework night for them. And
3-2 on Swisher. Let's see if Brandon Moss is put in motion. He does not have a steal on the year.
Joseph throws well. You wouldn't think he'd run.
Doesn't go, and it's lined into center field for a base hit. So the Indians have something going here now. First and second with nobody down in the second inning. You can celebrate summer at Oriole Park by picking up the new Birdland Summer 6-pack. Choose any 6 remaining games for the rest of the year and enjoy savings up to 20% off the cost of the single game tickets. Now you can build the perfect plan for you, either great rivalry games or promotions, fireworks night, whatever you prefer. For all the details, just go online, Orioles.com/6pack, or call 888-848-BIRD. Great way to come on out and join us at Camden Yards.
Ubaldo Jimenez is not pitching the way he's pitched all year, which is where he throws enough strike to get him to swing at balls. These deep counts, it's not going to work. I mean, Chisenhall's been struggling, so maybe you'll get it out here. The Orioles thought he may drop one down. Holmes hasn't had a lot of at-bats. He's on deck. Maybe if Terry Francona, you mentioned it last night, a lot of sacrifices. This might be one of those situations.
And it's quickly on to the Indians lead the league in sacks. They've picked up 19 along the way in their first 54 games.
See, so now Ubaldo's where he wants to be, which is where now all of a sudden I don't have to throw a strike. I can just throw it where the illusion is it starts as a strike and runs out. I mean, he's had such a good live two-seam fastball, and he's got the breaking ball and the splitter.
Popped him up, shallow center. Hardy's going to back up and take command. And he's got it for the out, just out there on the outfield grass. Ubaldo home versus road. He's been a different pitcher. Camden Yards versus road starts.
Well, he's been so good at home. I mean, 4 runs in Toronto, 4 runs in Houston, and did get thrown out of the game when he plunked Sandoval. That wasn't a very good call. So it's not like he's been like last year. He's had pretty good command of his stuff. Most walks he's had in the baseball game this year is 3. 8 strikeouts twice and 9. So he's really pitched kind of like you hoped he would. Maybe not exactly the way he pitched for the Indians when he went 4-0 with a 1-point ERA 2 years ago, but very, very effective. So while he's pitching better, and he'd love to be able to throw a ground ball here, they're also scoring runs for him.
There are the shadows creeping in on the third base side. The lights high above Progressive Field, and now it's 2-0. So the one batter he got out this inning, Chisenhall, he got ahead. The others he fell behind. Moss walked. Switcher singled on a 3-2 pitch. Now he's 2-0 on Gomes.
Well, they know him as well as anybody because he played for him, as we mentioned. So they're going to look for probably a two-seam fastball, not hit the other stuff till they have to. And right here, that's what he's looking for. But he throws him, I guess, a running fastball. It almost looked like a split-fingered pitch that filtered its way back into the strike zone.
Yan Gomes picked up in a trade. They got him from the Blue Jays.
Ismael Rogers.
Yep. And not only that, Mike Aviles came in the same trade. It was a 2-for-1. Ismael Rogers went to Toronto, and Gomes and Aviles came here to the Indians. Yan Gomes was born in Brazil. He's only one of 3 natives of Brazil to play in the major leagues. Paulo Orlando, who's a rookie with Kansas City this year, and Andre Rienzo, who is now in Miami. And a foul back.
Yeah, I was asking him about that. I said, so how big a city? And he said about 1,000. Organized ball? No, but we did have some like youth teams, so we would go from other cities around Brazil.
And then he made his way to Miami, where he went to high school. And there's a lot of baseball in Miami.
Did you play other sports? No, other than soccer, which is, he said, obviously very important. Footwork and agility.
2-0 to 2-2. And a base hit into right field. What a piece of hitting there. The runner will be held as Delman Young gets to it. He fires back in. So the Indians have bases loaded and only 1 down as Gomes, real good job there. He just served it the other way for a single.
Well, he hit it where it was pitched, and he drove in 78 runs. He hit 21 home runs, and he was a .278 hitter in his first full year catching. So again, it probably wasn't on the corner, but the approach is really tough to combat with, and especially when you have to throw a strike. And then Delman Young kind of is the equalizer out in the outfield for the Orioles.
Well, here's Michael Bourne, the center fielder. And the 20th pitch of the inning breaks in there for a strike, 0-1. Bourne 0 for his last 6, but he is 7 for his last 24.
Yeah, they hit .233 as a team with runners in scoring position, which is not a good number. Yeah, that ball just off the outside corner, and Bourne at 222. Those are his bases loaded numbers. That's a career. So again, the key: stay out of the big inning. They got to run, make it one. If they even get that.
Outstanding pitch there that Bourne just waved at.
Well, this is such a use at bat because Jose Ramirez is waiting on deck, and he's in there because they want to rest Aviles because he's such a good, everyday utility player. If you can get Bourne out.
Overthrows the fastball, so 2-2. So here comes the big pitch. You don't want to go full with the bases loaded. Well, the Orioles, 322 runners left on base, second fewest. The Indians fourth most, 410, which means they get a lot of runners on. 2-2 pitch is a called strike 3. Fairchild said it hit the corner. It must have been the two-seamer that came back in. Big out for Ubaldo and 2 men down.
Well, watch Caleb Joseph slide in. He got a great target, and then he just freezes it there. And you just look at where Fairchild's right over the catcher's head, so he's got a good view. Bourne thinks it's inside, very much like David Murphy thought one of the Tillman strikeouts was outside. But that's the clutch pitch. So now can you get the guy hitting 184 with hitting 130 with runners in scoring position out? And if you can, you get yourself out of harm's way.
See 184 for Ramirez. And a strike at the knees, and it's 0-2. Ubaldo trying to get out of a big jam. Terry Francona's club loaded the bases with 1 down, now 2 away, and 0-2 on Ramirez, who has taken 2 strikes. Overthrows the fastball, doesn't chase.
Yeah, they tried to come in and he missed. But the last thing you want to do with an 0-2, now a 1-2 count, is hit it back. It's all right to come in if you can command your stuff, but he doesn't really have good command today.
Struck him out. There's the same pitch on the corner. Ubaldo gets back-to-back Ks, and the Indians strand the bases loaded. So Jimenez, perfect location, hits the glove, he gets the call, and the Indians leave him loaded. Miller time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Now Dave Wallace, Jim, having his say with not only Ubaldo, with Caleb Joseph.
Well, that could be our Miller moment right there, loading up the bases and then striking out 2 consecutive hitters. But maybe there'll be more.
More moments.
Yes.
We like moments when they turn out like that. And here is Caleb. Machado and Young will follow as we head to the third. No score.
Well, 3 strikeouts, and the formula has been you get a fastball to hit. There it was. And then when he gets to 2 strikes, he's going to throw the splitter, and all strikeouts, all 3 of them on that kind of that equation.
Well, what the Orioles are wondering with Caleb now is, since Wieters is back and Matt at least initially will catch every other day, will Caleb's bat come around with less time behind the plate? As he comes in today, he's 0 for his last 9, 1 for 10 on the trip, and he's just 4 for his last 32.
So that's really what you have to try to figure out. And if you're a utility player, because that's what he'll be if Matt ends up catching 4 or 5 days. I mean, he's been working on trying to, and I mean, there's a good breaking ball, so he goes down on strikes. But spring training to now, it's all shorten the swing, try to have the bat stay in the hitting zone a little bit longer, use the whole field. We've seen him do that. But he had his fastball, he took it, and then there's the splitter changeup, and not only does he throw it, but look where it ends up, down and away. There's the 4th strikeout of the afternoon.
And Salazar has struck out 3 in a row. Here's Manny. Swung at the first pitch of the game and flied out to center field. This one's hit deep right. Brandon Moss going back on it. Still going. It carries, and it's good! It got out of here! How about that? Into the wind. Maybe the one part of the ballpark that the wind didn't affect it. And he hit it out. So Manny with his 9th home run, and the Orioles have a 1-0 lead. And Lawrence Kovacs, our Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, just pocketed another $500.
Well, first pitch fastball, so he's seen 2 pitches? One a fly ball, the other one a fly ball, but hit it right down in the corner where I do believe the stadium blocks the wind. Very much like last Sunday when he hit 2. They were both right center and right field. And this ball, I mean, Moss got back. You'd think it's going to stop and be knocked down, and it just kept going.
So Manny, who was just 3 for his last 21, hits a home run. So he now has 9 home runs, 24 RBIs. And he gives the Orioles the lead. Delman Young bounced out to third, his first at bat, gets ahead 2-0. Upstairs and a good take.
Well, Delman Young can hit everything, but when it comes to hitting high fastballs on the Oriole team, it's Manny Machado and Adam Jones. It's your best high fastball hitters.
Delman late there, 3-1. Manny cheering him on. 96 miles an hour. That one got out of here, and it needed every bit of that velocity to cut through that breeze. 3-0 to 3-2. 96 right there.
And they are in the middle of the plate. They're just up in the zone with great velocity.
Delman Young lines it and into center field for a base hit. He broke his bat, and Kipnis had a shot, but it just got over his glove for a 1-out single. Let's get a look at our Jeep inside the numbers, and this is a team that lives by the long ball.
So again, when the Orioles hit home runs, they're 21-14 because not only do they score more runs, but they also pitch a little bit better. 4-15.
Without a home
run, yeah, and then the ERA goes up. Not a good combination. And you touched on it, the fact that the Orioles only 19 stolen bases. They don't run a lot, so they don't manufacture runs. They can go from first to home. They can hit their doubles. They can score on singles, that kind of speed, but not stolen base type of speed.
Inside to Adam Jones. Adam with a double in the first inning to extend his current hitting streak to 4 in a row. Is Young on at first and only 1 out. Bouncer to third. Chisenhall backs up on it to second one. Kipnis back to first, and they turn the double play. Nicely done on both ends. And they get Adam by a stride. But the Orioles do get the lead. Manny Machado, first ball hitting goes the opposite way. It carries out, and the O's grab a 1-0 lead. Orioles baseball on Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Downtown Cleveland, Ohio, and inside Progressive Field is Manny Machado, who homered to give the Orioles the lead. So Ubaldo now, after getting out of a bases-loaded jam, sees his team break on top. Here's Kipnis leading off. And it's high 1-0. Santana and Brantley will follow. And a little bit low, 2-0.
Yeah, he made a comment today, Jason, down at the cage, was saying, you know, it's tough to hit 332. If you don't go 1 for 3, your average goes down. And he said, try being Ted Williams. And he hit over 400. Had to go 2 for 5 every day. But Ted would go 1 for 2 and walk twice.
Right.
You know, never got 200 hits, Ted Williams, because he never got to the plate enough. He walked 160, 170 times. So Kipnis, that average stays exactly where you want, and he could run. And he's had years where he's stolen up to 30 bases. And that's the one thing about Ubaldo. Even in a good year, and that's what he's had, they've stolen 8 out of 9.
And there's Kipnis, the highest on-base percentage as a leadoff hitter going back to 1969. And how about former Indians and Orioles manager Mike Hargrove on that list?
The human rain delay,
which would now be illegal.
Well, he'd do all the stuff he did with his foot in the box. Well, he hit the 290. Grover was a 291 lifetime hitter. But he had a ritual where he had to touch the glove, the belt, the pat. I mean, just between every pitch. But he was a tough out.
Santana bounced into a double play his first at bat. So in each of the last 2 innings, not only has Ubaldo walked the leadoff hitter, it was a 4-pitch walk, and he misses outside to Santana.
So, well, that's what just changes the dynamic of this inning, because you have speed over there. You have a guy that is leading the world in base on balls with 42. But he's not going to swing at pitches out of the zone. You have to throw him strikes. Then he becomes a home run hitter. And Ty Van Berkeley always say that that's the one thing he does so well. The breaking ball in the dirt, because he's a high ball hitter, he takes. So you have to throw him strikes where he wants them. Otherwise, he's going to say, you know what? If they call him a strike, fine. I'm not swinging at your pitch early in the count, which is one of the keys to hitting. Which again, asked my following question was, well, then why the average so low? Because he said he overswings a little bit. But he does get pitches to hit, and he's worked himself into that count.
Well, maybe his fascination with drawing walks, he lets some pitches go by that might be better hittable pitches.
Well, not if it's about belt high. He will leave earth and air it out.
3-0. So Every pitch this inning has been a ball, 7 in a row.
Well, one of those days it is. The humidity is not what it's been. Feel, I would imagine, even though you throw 2 seamers, could be a problem, and we're seeing it.
Not even close. 8 in a row out of the strike zone to begin the inning.
And when you start aiming it, there's no chance of throwing a strike because your mechanics go awry.
Well, don't forget the Orioles and Indians will meet again at Oriole Park. It is a 3-game weekend series beginning Friday, June 26th. And on Saturday, June 27th, the first 25,000 fans 15 and over receive the Buck Showalter Garden Gnome. So don't miss this unique keepsake. It definitely will become a collector's item for every fan in Birdland. So get your tickets at Orioles.com or call 888-848-BIRD.
I'm not sure the Gnome was real happy about these 2 walks.
I don't believe he is. Michael Brantley now, and that's outside. 9 in a row to begin the inning.
Yeah, I think Dave Wallace is going to come out, and obviously it's going to be a confidence booster, but he's gotten a little out of his windup because he's aiming the ball and still have to throw it the same way. Maybe you have to throw a little bit for the middle of the plate, and it goes back to, you know, the great story when Davey Johnson ran into Dave McNally when he was struggling with his control, and he said, "Did you ever hear of the variable deviation theory?" And Dave goes, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, it's a mathematical theorem." Davey went to Texas A&M. That if you're throwing the ball for the corner and it's going for the middle, throw it for the middle, maybe it'll go to the corner. And of course McNally said, "Go back and play second base." And that's when I knew Davey was going to be a manager. But when you're struggling, you're not throwing the ball where you want to. Throw it for the middle of the plate. It's probably not going to end up there. But you got to throw it over.
And there's a strike finally after 9 consecutive balls to begin the inning. 3 hits and 3 walks, so the Indians already have had 6 base runners.
And then you have your best runner in scoring position guy up at the plate, Michael Brantley. He just completely lost his release point, and he knows it. He's going to his mouth because when you get into days like this with no humidity and it's windy, the ball gets even a little bit slicker.
Well, 2-1 on Brantley, who struck out his first at bat. Line down the line, that is hooking foul. He was right on it, but he pulled it foul.
Yeah, these are one of those days. I learned from my first roommate in A-ball, Davey Leonard, who played with the Orioles, went to Hopkins, and he would soak the top of his hat and towel it off so it would be one solid color, and you always had a little bit of moisture, not a spit or anything like that, because you'd go to your hat. Back then you couldn't go to your mouth on the mound, so you always had a little bit more feel.
He's back in the at-bat here, 2-2 on Brantley. Line right to Hardy. They're going to get a double play. How about that? The ball smoked, but right to JJ, and Kipnis trying to get a good secondary lead, could not get back.
Well, this is when you might have played horseshoe, because you get very lucky here. Right there, I mean, this is a line rocket, and if it had been 3-2, you might have had a triple play because the runners might have been running. So now a chance, even though your command is not where you want it to be, to get out of the inning again. Boy, is he living on the edge this afternoon.
Brandon Moss with a runner at first, and he tried the breaking ball to get ahead. That one missed high. Moss drew a walk his first at bat. So Baldo 2 double plays. And Salazar has 1. Ball 2.
Yeah, I'm trying to look around for the pitch count here. You probably have it, but it's far too many. 58. That's not as bad as I thought.
There's a strike. Good idea by Caleb. If the fastball's not working, try something else. So peeking in at the bench just in case they're offering suggestions.
It's almost like his fastball is like a splitter today. I mean, he can't get on top of it, so He's getting some movement, but it's just not getting it down in the zone.
So 13 of the 17 pitches balls in this inning. Moss fouls it back, so they count at 3-2. So can he get out of it? 61 pitches now. Chris Davis yelled over to Baldo. He'll play behind the runner. Santana's going to run anyway. 3-2 with 2 men down here in the third. Just inside, ball 4. So he has walked 3 in the inning. The double play helped him out. That's the 4th walk in the game.
Well, Nick Swisher singled into center field because he got to see 6 pitches the last time up. Three for 25 with runners in scoring position.
Only 1 ball has been put in play this inning. The line drive that turned into a double play. And Swisher will take low. First time this year Ubaldo's walked 4 in a game, and we're only in the 3rd inning.
And then he gets a pitch that Swisher thought might have been low. Well, what you hope is that you make a pitch here, hope that Swisher doesn't get to see a bunch of pitches, and somehow when you get in the 4th inning you regain your rhythm. And it happened to me, it can happen to him. But right now the immediate necessity to somehow to figure out to make a good pitch here, and it's hard to do when you don't feel the ball. It looks to me that he's lost the feel for the horse eye today.
Towards the middle and past Flaherty for a base hit. Santana will come around the score. Young throwing to third. It is off the bag, and the Indians have tied it. So Swisher's 2 for 2 and a big 2-out base hit to get this game even. And the walks eventually hurt Ubaldo Jimenez.
Yeah, just a tumbling breaking ball that Swisher's able to again serve up the middle. And ties it up. You can see where the target is, but it stays in the middle of the plate, and he just hits a single.
Well, Santana got on a walk. He scores. And we are even. So the Orioles score in the top half, and the Indians come back in the bottom half, taking advantage of the 3 walks in this inning. Chisenhall popped up his first at bat to J.J. Hardy in shallow center field. Brad Brock already getting loose here in the 3rd. Outside. Now the Indians look like they're taking a strike, since Ubaldo has been missing so often this inning.
Well, I don't think they're trying to take it. I just think that he hasn't been close to the zone. So it looks like it. I mean, they're looking for something in the middle of the plate. They figure they're going to get it. And there's 92 on the corner. Boy, it's frustrating when you can't, you know, you have all these little guidelines, little checkpoints as whether you're a reliever, especially a starter, because you pitch so many innings. Keep the front shoulder closed. Feel like you get over your front side, soft front side. And then sometimes you just can't sync it all up. And you get into the 3rd or 4th inning and you feel like you've been out there 7 or 8 innings. The last 2 pitches are good ones.
A good splitter there. We're 1-2 on Chisenhall. Runners on the corners. 28 pitches last inning, 25 already here in the 3rd. Caleb giving the signals to the middle infielders what he will do in the event if Swisher breaks from first.
With his 2 surgically repaired knees, I don't think it's going to happen. But you're right, just in case.
And the 1-2 foul back. Well, maybe that's exactly what the Indians hope the Orioles think, and he'll go anyway. Getting a rundown, try to steal a run from third.
Well, okay. I think that the Orioles would be very happy if Swisher tried to steal a base.
Outside. Swisher last stole a base in 2013. And he got him to get out of the inning. So it could have been worse. The Indians do scratch out a run, but Jimenez gets out of it. We head to the fourth, tied at 1. Bullpen catcher, we'd like to send birthday wishes out to Rudy's dad, Rudy Arias Sr., who turns 84 today. He was a relief pitcher on the Go-Go Sox, the White Sox, back in 1959. And Rudy followed his dad into baseball, so happy birthday to Mr. Arias. Nice.
Yeah, I wonder if he lives down in Miami. Yeah, happy birthday. Rudy used to come to Miami Stadium when we used to play there, and along with Rafael Palmeiro, they'd sit on the walls. His dad said, Rudy, go get some baseballs. And then they'd hit them down the lines, they jump over the fence, get the balls, and jump back over the fence, wait for some more balls.
Here's Chris Davis against Salazar, and he swings through it. Davis struck out his first at-bat, his 75th strikeout of the year, began the day third in the league in striking out. And he bunts third base side, it goes foul. Good idea, but he just couldn't keep it fair.
Yeah, about 18 inches from being a terrific play.
First time I've seen Chris do that. It's always available for him.
Yeah, hard thrower, and well, we saw a bunt. They're not going to stay fair on this field. We saw one last night, just swinging bunt, going right along the foul line, and then kind of hooked to the left. Maybe on the grass, it might have been a little different story.
50th pitch by Salazar sails high. 1-2 on Davis. Wieters and Pierce will follow. Salazar just 25. He is 13-12 in his big league career. And foul back. This is his 40th start. He has never pitched in relief in the big leagues.
Yeah, when they sent him out last year, they just kind of retooled his windup, and then he came back and early on in April. But he has he's got a good windup. Gets over his front side, throws a lot of strikes. I mean, he's only had one wild game. That was his last one. 4 walks in 5 1/3 innings. Other than that, 3, 5, 6, 7 innings.
Strike 3 call. Davis thought it was high.
Well, it was. There's a nice gift, but I don't think the Orioles, when you looked at the couple of strikeouts, a couple of innings, but this ball's definitely up in the zone, and you're getting ready to hit 3 and 2, and the next thing you know, you're heading back to the dugout.
So strikeout number 5 for Salazar, leading off here in the 4th. Orioles have not had their leadoff man on in any of their 4 innings in this game. Wieters flied out to right field his first at bat, a ball knocked down by the wind. Salazar has 3 games already this year in which he has struck out at least 10. He's halfway there already, and we're just in the 4th inning. 5 Ks through 3 1/3. Shadows creeping closer and closer to the playing field. In fact, out in front of home plate now.
So sun, shade, sun. Hitters will tell you don't see the spin.
Right back to Salazar. Wieters retired and 2 men down in the Oriole 4th. For every Orioles walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to support the March of Dimes. The O's have drawn 130 walks for a total of $6,500. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and a more active lifestyle. And 2 down here. Here's Pierce. Singled his first at bat. Salazar has not yet had a 3 up, 3 down inning. Here's Turn, hoping that ball might hit him. He is very adept at that. Makes it look like, oops.
And he doesn't even wear the front arm protector, I don't believe, unless it's underneath the jersey.
Sneakers.
Yeah, most guys will put something on that front side as like a shield.
Pierce is now 4 for 14 on the road trip with his 2nd inning single.
Once again, that was your pitch to hit. 95. He trusts his fastball in the middle of the plate. And now you have to scuff it.
And he got him. Off-speed pitch dips down and away. 3 up, 3 down go the O's. 1-1 game in the 4th.
Second inning, bases loaded, and you need a strikeout. Michael Bourne didn't think it was a strike inside corner. That's the second out, and then Jose Ramirez looking at the same pitch. A roller coaster ride for Ubaldo Jimenez as he gets out of the second. 1-1 as we go to the bottom of the 4th.
We had a 3-batter inning in the first, leadoff single, then a double play. 6 batters in the second, throwing 28 pitches. And 6 batters in the third, throwing 28 pitches. And the way they've had base runners, it's amazing. It's 1-1.
2 double plays.
Yan Gomes, first ball swinging past the dive of Machado. That's a base hit. So Gomes is going to head to second. So Gomes anticipating Ubaldo trying to get a strike after the disaster 3-walk third inning, jumps on the first pitch.
Yeah, that's what we're kind of talking about, is that they're looking for something in the middle of the plate, and if they get it, they're going to be aggressive. And if you make your pitch away, and Manny's off the line where he should be, you can't assume somebody you're going to miss by maybe 6-8 inches with the strike zone. And so a ground ball single becomes a double because you're playing off the line.
Here's Michael Bourne, the number 8 batter, squares to bunt. He bunts it foul. So Francona, the way Salazar is pitching, wants to get that runner to third.
Well, it's still a little unusual, and the reason I say that is because of who's on deck. I mean, Bourne, you gave him $48 million. Yeah, he's not hitting, but he can't try to hit a ball to the right side with Ramirez, who's really struggling in the next 9th hole.
There's a bunt towards third. Ubaldo get out of the way. Manny's got it, and he fires to first. So the 5th sacrifice for Bourne moves Gomes to third with 1 down.
I assume that Terry Francona's philosophy, strategy is that you'll make Jose Ramirez a better hitter. Nice little bunt by Bourne. Got it down this time. And then Manny makes a nice play. So you got to play everybody in. Got to throw him a strike. Doesn't have to get a base hit to get a runner in. Understand that strategy.
Well, here is Ramirez, who was called out on strikes to end that second inning.
Of course, on the other hand of that, the other side of that is that Ubaldo's saying, I'm just going to try to get ahead and then strike him out. He's had trouble doing that. One of those plays where you have to be aware that you never know, he may squeeze.
Type of the fastball.
And you want to have a big inning, don't throw strikes to this guy, because Kipnis is waiting on deck and you're back into the heart of our lineup. You get to see it for the 3rd time and you're only pitching in the 4th.
Swing and a miss, 2-1. Ramirez signed when he was 17. Can't catch up to this one.
Yeah, well, he's just trying to hit this slider up in the air. I always talk about it. Man on third, less than 2 outs. When you're taking batting practice, hit something in the air. That's what he attempted to do.
Popped him up. Shallow left. In on it is Pierce. And he's got it. Gomes doesn't even bother tagging. So there's a big out for Ubaldo and 2 men down. Let's get a look at our PNC minor league report. And Dariel Alvarez, his bat is really coming on. 5-game hitting streak, Jim. He's batted 500 in that streak.
Well, everybody's still raving about probably the best defensive outfielder other than Adam Jones in the organization, especially minor league guys. You know, rocket arm. He doesn't have a lot of speed, but they've just been waiting for him. You have to understand he's also playing at a higher level this year. AAA Norfolk. And how about Nolan Ryman? Ryman is actually leading the International League in hitting
over a period of time.
Oh, okay. I thought you.
But he's on a tear.
Well, that's good.
There's a chance he may crop into the PNC tomorrow.
Well, when he's healthy, Buck Showalter always talks about a presence. Nolan's got a presence. It's been a long road to being healthy.
So he gets ahead, gets to use the splitter, and he's ahead 0-2. Yeah, with Reimold, you get the power, you get the speed, you get the glove when he's healthy. And it appears he is. Kipnis fights it off to stay alive.
And then I read something somewhere where he had what's the term they use?
Opt-out clause.
An opt-out clause. I don't know if that's true or not.
No, I'm sure it is. It's the way of the game now when these players that are veterans sign minor league deals. They don't want to be stuck. If they can prove that they're healthy and can play, even if they don't come up to the big club they're with, maybe opt out and go somewhere else. We've already seen several June 1st opt-outs leave teams and switch. 1-2 to Kipnis is low.
Yeah, nice play right there. Jan Gomes, a really good jump. Secondary lead, exactly what you want. In case the ball's in the dirt, and then Caleb Joseph does what Matt Wieters was able to do last night. Well, the Stanley Cup playoffs are upon us. It's kind of like a goalie. Keep it out of the crease.
Two is off the plate. Big pitch for Ubaldo, who got ahead of Kipnis 0-2, and now it's full. With Gomes at third, and time requested at the plate.
Well, Kipnis is, we talked about the 51 hits he had in May, American League Player of the Month at 419. You can't give in to him. You got to make your pitch. I mean, really, it just can't be something for a strike because he's too hot.
And it's upstairs, ball 4. So he got ahead 0-2 and he loses it. 5th walk charged to Ubaldo. Second time he's walked Kipnis. Kipnis in that leadoff spot has been on base all 3 times. So one of those days for Ubaldo.
Well, the scoreboard has a lot to do with it too. You get a sense when you're pitching against somebody. You know you're not going to get a lot of runs off Danny Salazar. I mean, you get the home run by Machado, but he's really not gotten himself into any trouble. I think there's a tendency sometimes to think you have to be perfect, and that leads to wildness, base on balls, high pitch counts, and that's exactly what we have.
And then he gets ahead of Santana 0-1. Jimenez now 5 walks. He has 4 strikeouts, and he's allowed 5 hits, and Brad Brock is up for a second time. Kipnis runs. No throw to second, throw behind to third. No one to cover at second base in the shift. So a stolen base for Kipnis puts 2 in scoring position, but it's 0-2 on Santana. Orioles 0 for 1, Indians 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position.
Which is 17 points higher than their yearly average.
Popped up. Machado has a play. And he'll squeeze it for the out. And Houdini does it again. Ubaldo strands 2. We'll head to the 5th. Interesting game, tied at 1. The other, Oakland's Pat Venditti. He debuted for the A's. He throws right-handed, he throws left-handed, and he does it in the same game and in the same inning. First Major League player ever to record an out as a lefty and a righty in the same inning since Greg Harris did it for the Expos back in 1995. He pitched 2 innings, no runs on 1 hit. And Sean Doolittle, the left-handed closer, put this on Twitter. Congrats on your debut. I wrote you this card with my right hand because I want to be ambidextrous, too.
Man,
there's the glove, Jim.
Yeah, we were watching him last night. It was amazing. Good breaking ball from both sides. Never really got a velocity reading, but he made good pitches. And what's the warm-up? We warmed up both right-handed and left-handed.
So you get what, 4 and 5? How many you get, 8 or 9?
I think you get 9.
All right, now, what about you, the Hall of Fame right-hander? Would you be able to throw a strike left-handed?
No.
Even in your prime?
No, not close. I do remember when George Brett came up, he was number 5. But he had some other uniform on. The mounds used to be right out of the dugouts behind home plate. And I said, who's the new left hand that the Royals got? That was George throwing left-handed. And it looked, the stuff was really good. And
wasn't his brother Ken a lefty?
Yes, he was. Ken Brett, good left-handed hitter, very good hitter. Pitcher and a very good hitter. Pinch hit a lot before the DH. But I always said, he said, well, I have this recurring nightmare that my throwing hand gets hit by a rocket off the AstroTurf and I have to pick the ball up and throw the guy out left-handed. So I used to do it. And George was not only in the Hall of Fame, but a terrific athlete. He could run, he could hit home runs, terrific fielder.
Well, he was drafted as a shortstop. As many of the players in the draft, the high school players as he was, the best player usually is the shortstop. And then they figure out, okay, now you're better at third, there you go. And X amount of years later, he's at Cooperstown. And there's a strikeout. So strikeout number 7. Then you have others like Brooks Robinson and Rick Dempsey who are left-handed except playing baseball.
Big Hook. First time he's struck anybody out this afternoon. Most of them been on splitters. In fact, all of them.
7 Ks now. And it's getting tough to see. Salazar's out there almost like they have a spotlight on him in Hollywood with the sun. And then the shadows around the plate.
Double shadows.
So one almost behind the mound, and one halfway between the plate and the mound, and one right over the plate.
Well, pitching coaches love this time of day, and hitting instructors. Where can I get a hairpiece? Lose your hair. If you're a hitting instructor, get it? A lot of angst, Jim?
I got it.
You don't have to worry about that.
I was letting you have the moment.
No, there was no moment.
Ryan struck out his first at-bat. 5 different Orioles have struck out at least once. Hardy and Davis have each struck out twice.
Well, the fans want that pitch because that's very similar to the second inning when both Bourne and Ramirez went down on similar pitches. So the fans very much into the game here in Cleveland.
Serves it the other way. Over is Brantley, and that'll be back in the crowd. Ryan has 5 hits on the trip, and he has 4 RBIs on the road trip. With the roster moves of yesterday, it looks like Flaherty is going to settle in as the everyday second baseman until Scope returns. Ray Navarro is here. There's Ray with Jimmy Paredes. The Orioles have already used this year 36 different players. They have used 18 position players and 18 pitchers. And Cesar Cabral, who's in the bullpen, when he gets in a game, he'll become the 37th. Hold towards first. There's Santana. And over quickly is Danny Salazar for the out. And 2 away. The O's upcoming schedule brought to you by Mile One Automotive, offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the Baltimore area. Visit us in-store or online at mileone.com. Well, the finale of the road trip here in Cleveland tomorrow, a 1 o'clock game, and then it's back home for a day off at home for the players. And the Red Sox come to town Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night games. And then next weekend, the Yankees are in town. So after tomorrow, it's back in the AL East. 6 in a row retired by Salazar. Caleb Joseph takes high. Caleb struck out his first at-bat. Each team scored in the third. The Indians have been frustrated that they only have 1 run. They've had 3 real good scoring opportunities. Popped up, shallow left. Backing out is Ramirez, and the shortstop has it. Back-to-back 3-up, 3-down innings. Salazar has retired 7 straight Orioles. Orioles Baseball on Masson is brought to you by PNC for the achiever in you. And by Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at OCOcean.com. Concourse here at Progressive Field. And Oriole fans, they were smart. They bought tickets on the sunny side of the field, on the first base side. And no, they didn't get the tickets in time. They're on the cool side of the stadium on the third base side.
Well, the one thing about Progressive Field, but they have 455 straight sellouts. It is a beautiful ballpark.
Oh, it is.
And it's intimate because the seats go vertically up, and you can see the concourses, and it's open. I remember doing the World Series here in '95. There's enough energy.
Soft line drive to center field. There's a base hit for Michael Brantley, so the leadoff man gets on again.
Yeah, 5 straight innings.
Well, the Orioles are back home beginning Tuesday, and then next weekend the Yankees are in town, a 3-game series beginning Friday, June 12th. Now, tickets, as you know, against the Yankees, they go fast over weekends, so don't miss out. And for each game, fans are encouraged to bring any non-perishable food item or a cash donation to benefit the Maryland Food Bank as part of the annual Orioles Reach Food and Funds Drive presented by One Main Financial. The food donations are already being accepted now at participating One Main Financial branches. For tickets, visit Orioles.com or call 888-848-BIRD. Oh, 0-1 on Brandon Moss. Brantley has 7 steals. He has not been caught.
Yeah, he's had a back problem, so you're kind of wondering if he'll run. They've had the shift on, so there isn't a normal hole. Flaherty playing in that hole, but when he does run, 23 out of 24 last year, high percentage. Michael Brantley knows when to run, who to run on, and Ubaldo will be one of those guys if they choose to do it. They may wait an out.
Well, they have 1 in this game, so there have been 9 steals in 10 attempts against Ubaldo.
Yeah, their motto is get on for Nick Swisher. He doesn't play, and he's 2 for 2. Brandon Moss has walked both times. Home run power, though.
Foul tip in and out of the glove of Caleb Joseph. That was a topic of Buck Showalter's pregame press briefing today. He says Matt Wieters is the best foul tip catcher he's ever seen. And it's an interesting thing to be good at because you can't practice it.
You know, we had a game probably maybe in Houston. Caleb, and he was talking about Caleb Joseph caught 2 in one game. And again, it isn't something you can practice. And I don't really know. I suppose if your hand's soft and you're not jabbing at the ball, kind of a little stumble there. Whoop.
Right field. Right there is Delman Young. Sounded good, but went right to Delman's mitt, one away.
Yeah, the line drive at somebody. They call him the atom ball. And, was Moss trying to pull it? Hit it hard, but right at him.
See the shadows now in deep center field creeping in as well, so they're coming from center field and behind third base, forming a V almost as the shadows creep in. So here is Swisher. He has singled twice, one to drive in a run. That tied the game in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, fastball and breaking ball. That's what he's got to hit.
He's always had, as Jim mentioned, a very good batting eye, and he's also a very patient hitter. First round pick of the Athletics back in 2002 out of Ohio State. 4 years in Oakland, 1 year with the White Sox. Then he went to the Yankees for 4 years. And in his third year with Cleveland. So there's two ways to look at that. Either he's really in demand or he's a hard time hanging out in places.
Well, never a great defensive player, but he could play first. He could play the outfield. Does strike out a lot, but 20 to 25 home runs a year. High on base percentage. Switch hitter. And he's worked the count right where he wants it. 3-0.
He had 9 consecutive seasons of 20 or more home runs, 2005 through 2013. Last year he had an injury-plagued season and hit just 8. On the outside corner, Swisher disagrees, which he has been known to do. Orioles fans know that from all the 4 years with the Yankees. There's Brantley on at first with 1 down. Badly inside, and there's ball 4, and there's the 6th walk allowed by Ubaldo.
No, he's going to tell you. I mean, look at the pitch counts: 15, 28, 28, 17, 12. He's going to tell you that's the 3rd time. So you end up going to Chaz Rowe the next time. Usually Buck Showalter says if you're up more than twice, you're coming in the game.
Breaking ball for a strike to Chisenhall. This is a season high for an Orioles starter, walking 6. They had walked 5 3 other times. And then it's 0-2.
And Lonnie Chisenhall is probably saying to himself, why me? You're behind everybody else. You throw strike 1, strike 2 to me. Popped up the first time, struck out with a chance to give them the lead the last time.
Miguel Gonzalez, Wei-Yin Chen, and Chris Tillman each had a start this year of 5 walks. So this is the first by an Orioles starter of at least 6. Despite all those extra base runners, it's still a 1-1 game. Can't get him the chase.
Look at that. 104 pitches. Well, you know, with Gomes already with a single and a double, this is his last hitter. Now, it might be his last hitter even if he gets him out.
Strike 3 call. There's the 2-seam fastball again. Chisenhall gave up on it, and Ubaldo got the call. So strikeout number 5 and a big second out.
And one of those fastballs that starts in, two-seamer. Chisenhall can't believe it. Like I said, why me? 5th strikeout of the afternoon. Now Gomes is 2 for 2.
Gomes with a single in the second, a double in the 4th. Breaking ball to get ahead 0-1. And we see Jim Ubaldo continues to go to his mouth for some.
Well, that's the moisture factor, yeah. I mean, you're not allowed to put moisture on the ball, but you can go to your hand. You're supposed to wipe it off.
Ground ball weakly hit. Deep in the hole. Throw to second will force Swisher. Wide throw by Hardy, but Flaherty, he's tall, and he used those extra inches to get it. So Ubaldo works out of yet another jam. We are through 5, and it's a 1-1 game in Cleveland. All of those who lost their lives on D-Day. This is the 71st anniversary of D-Day in World War II. It was June the 6th, 1944, when the forces of the Allies invaded France and began the major offensive against the German forces. Many lives were lost that day, but it was a major turn in the war, which would eventually be won by the Allies. So we remember all those who gave their lives in search of freedom on the 71st anniversary of D-Day. And it looks like it's all for Ubaldo as Buck goes over and says, way to get him, right-hander.
Well,
way to keep us in the game, because he did.
He did. And like you said, Houdini was one of those Houdini performances with the 6 walks. But that's where the experience factor comes in and the pride. You know, Mickey Callaway was the pitching coach for Ubaldo when he was here. He's still and he said, you know, he really does care. And I think last year he got off to the wrong foot, didn't have the kind of year, but he's not going to give in, and he didn't this afternoon. And if the Orioles by chance would get the lead here, he might be able to eke out a win.
Right. Manny homered in the 3rd. And there's where the pitch was, right where he likes it. He went with it and carried out.
Yeah, great high ball hitter.
Salazar has struck out 7. He has not walked a batter. The Orioles have 4 hits off him. And he bounces in there in front of the plate.
Yeah, if you throw a lot of high fastballs, I certainly knew this, you're going to give up some home runs. If you're going to give them up, and you're aggressive, you don't walk people, solos usually don't beat you.
Shadows might.
Wow.
A little bit low, I guess.
Yeah, 97 down and away. And it's fair to say that Chad Fairchild favors the high strike.
Yes. So full count on Manny. Grounded towards the middle, and a diving stop by Ramirez. The throw across, not in time. There's an infield hit for Manny Machado to begin the 6th inning.
Well, you get an idea right there that, you know, Manny Machado can hit the fastball, so he hits it up the middle. And then the reason they want Ramirez to start hitting is because of this kind of defense. I mean, he gets to it pretty quickly. The low throw, it is snagged by Carlos Santana. And again, they like Aviles as a utility guy because he can play so many different positions. Pinch hit, left-handed pitchers late in the ball game.
So the first time in this game the Orioles get their leadoff man on, and it comes in the 6th. And here's Delman. Fastball's high. Manny leads the Orioles in steals. He has 8. Jim mentioned Salazar is tough to run on, though. He's very quick to the plate. There's only been 1 attempt all year on him.
And Gomes is 4 out of 10 when you try to steal. Good arm, accurate arm, quick release. That's pretty much all you need as long as your pitcher gets you the ball quickly.
Delman is 1 out of 2. Check swing, and it's outside.
Yeah, you get into one of those hit and run counts, which is 2 balls, 1 strike. So, I mean, you would go to Detroit when Sparky Anderson was managing the Tigers, and if you ever got behind their hitters, the guy was going. He's going to be moving. One of your infielders has to cover, opens up a hole. You might even do it here at 2-0.
Delman fouls it back just below us. 2-1 on Delman Young.
Because what we've seen, Salazar has pitched a great game, but he doesn't throw the splitter till he gets to 2 strikes. So, you know, pretty much right here, here's your hit and run, 2-1 count. Buck Showalter may say, okay, we've seen fastball in this count all afternoon. We'll start Manny. Somebody's going to have to cover the base because he does run a little bit, as you mentioned, 8 out of 9.
Well, he certainly has Salazar's attention.
And then Delman Young can handle the bat. There it is, 56 in the strike zone, 29 out.
And he has not walked a batter. Outside, good eye for Delman Young in a 3-1 count.
Maybe Buck thinking what Earl Weaver used to think. He said there's only one good thing that can happen with a hit and run. It works. Too many other bad things. He hated it.
Not fond of giving up possible outs. Manny doesn't go, and the 3-1 is hit toward short. And a bounce throw, but they still get the out at second base on the slide. Ramirez bounced it to Kipnis.
And Kipnis, who played all kinds of sports, right there, gets to it quickly. I think he thinks they're going to turn 2. And he's able to haul it in to get the lead runner.
So Delman replaces Manny at first. Delman is not a stolen base threat. Adam Jones at the plate now. Adam doubled in the first, bounced into an inning-ending double play in the third. He's now hitting 4 straight games with his first inning double. Chad Fairchild was giving Buck Showalter a chance at possibly asking if that play be reviewed, but it appeared clear that the throw beat Manny, and Kipnis kept his foot on the bag. Line down the line. He had a hanger. Wow. He was out in front.
Yeah, you can get Adam out with breaking balls, but they better be good ones. Ask Markham. Ask Qualls. That ball singed. Just hooks it.
The security guard ducking.
Well, everybody ducking. Hit it right into the shadows.
In the dirt, a nice block by Gomes. Used the chest protector to keep it in front. Adam Jones now with 64 hits. He began the day as the best hitter in the American League in day games, batting .444 with the sunshine out. And he's 1 for 2 here today. Fastball by him.
Oh, talk about overswinging. I'm going to hit this one as far as last night. Rolls out his head a little bit. It's got to be hard to see. You're going from sun to shade to sun. And then you got your catcher. And the guy's throwing 95.
And he gets it. Another fastball. Jones swings through it. There's strikeout number 8 and 2 men down.
And that time he gets it off the outside corner, right where Gomes is sitting. Real good pitch. Good movement, late movement. Looked like the ball actually cut.
The shadows becoming more of a factor. Here's Chris Davis. He has struck out in each of his 2 at-bats today. His 23rd multi-strikeout game of the year. Salazar gets him, although in fairness to Chris, his strikeout in the 4th pitch appeared to be a ball, and Fairchild rung him up anyway. Young is on at first with 2 down in this tie game. There's the potential go-ahead run, but now 2 men down. And a foul ball.
Yeah, a little splitter. Yeah, I was looking at some of the numbers for Chris. When his batting average in balls put in play is up demonstrably from last year, 282 coming in. Of course, last year was the lowest of his career. A normal year for him is somewhere anywhere from 327 to 390. So when he makes contact, he gets a lot of hits.
He's thrown 8 balls this inning for the first time in the game in an inning. And Davis just looks it over, and it's in there for strike 3. Well, Davis having a tough time with Chad Fairchild. Orioles strand a runner mid-6, 1-1 game.
Trying to win for the 4th time. Well, again, all over the place. Some big strikeouts, what he needed. 6 walks, season high. Ramirez didn't like it. Again, pitched out of trouble when he needed it. And strike zone pretty large today. He takes advantage of it. His pitch arsenal today. So there it is, 107 pitches, 58 strike, 49 balls, and a lot of fastballs. Just didn't look very kind of windy, blustery day here, so did not have a feel. In our Jiffy Lube pitching change feature, it's time for a little relief for your car too. Visit Jiffy Lube for regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube, drive in today. Brad Brock. There it is. A lot of fastballs, sliders, and power changeups. Coming off a game where he just did not have his usual stuff. He went into the game that Ubaldo started. It was 2-1 Orioles, man on first, and ended up giving up 3 runs. The Orioles would eventually give up 4 runs in that 7th inning and lose. He really pitched well.
Misses low to Michael Bourne, 1-0. Bourne with a sacrifice his last plate appearance. He's also struck out. All speed pitch, swing and a miss.
Yeah, a couple of walks, a couple of hits, 3 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. Brad said he tried everything. There's a half swing for strike 2. Tried staying close, tried staying back, tried cutting down his stride, and he just kept missing. Until that point, he had only given up 4 runs in 20 innings.
Yeah, he had a stretch prior to that. 1 run allowed combined over 7 consecutive appearances, and then the 3 in Houston. Very important man in this bullpen.
Yeah, one of those games where you bring him in because he's been pitching so well, and then he has an off night. And there's one of the things he couldn't do. I mean, he did strike out, I think, Balbuena, but again, didn't throw a lot of strikes today. A little different story. Here's the power changeup. You think it's going to be over the plate, and it just keeps going away. And now I can't even imagine you can see any spin on the ball. Hard to see the seams, which is usually dictates, because hitters are looking for speed out of your hand. And some guys will tell you, Wade Boggs, we showed you, one of the highest on base percentage, Hall of Famer, 100 walks, 200 hits, 6 or 7 consecutive years for the Red Sox. He could see the spin. Ted Williams said, not so much. But what they do want to know is see the release point and how it, the speed of it, how it comes out of your hand. I think that would be hard to do now.
Ramirez pops it up. Chris Davis has a play.
Whoa.
And run into by the base runner, and interference is called. That was deliberate.
Well, I don't know. He just didn't have anywhere to go.
Well, how about around him?
Well, I understand that. I tried going around Chris Davis is not an easy task, not when you're a little guy. Right there, he's running down there, heads down, and right here he's going, oh, wait, whoa, ah. And then I don't want to get hurt.
Blocking like that, he could play for the Browns. Look at that. That's a good block from a running back. Right
and then he get.
So not only for the first time in this game was the leadoff man retired, back-to-back outs recorded by Brock. And here's Kipnis. Kipnis singled in the first. He has since walked twice. Fastball right there.
Yeah, I was talking to Jason. I said, so you hit, 419 in May, 217 in April. He said, well, I hit some balls hard, and then, of course, you want to do well, so you try harder. And most of us have tried that. It doesn't work. Grip the bat more. The weather's horrible here. Usually, April in Cleveland can. You look at this park, you think it's pretty intimate, but got a lot of room in right center and left center.
A lot of room, a lot of breeze.
And then you got the high wall in left field.
This stadium is not right on the lake as the other one was, but there certainly is lake effect wind.
Close enough. You do have some buildings to buffer it between Lake Erie and Progressive Field. Yeah, good take there. It's when you know you're seeing the ball, even though the shadows are tough. That was a power changeup. The bottom dropped out, and But you can wait. You can wait. And when you're hitting well, you let the ball get a little bit deeper.
Well, to give you an idea of how tough it is to see, after the strikeout of Michael Bourne, Caleb Joseph had been wearing sunglasses catching, and he took his mask off, took the sunglasses off, and he called the bat boy over and said, "Here, go put these on the bench," because with the sunglasses on with these shadows, he obviously wasn't seeing the ball as well as he wanted to, so he took them off. Shadow's a major factor here. Here's the 3-2 to Kipnis, and he fights it off to stay alive.
Yeah, one of those games where maybe an error or a little bloop, or maybe a guy like Kipnis who can steal bases gets on. You try to steal a base. Battle of the bullpens as the game progresses, especially for the Orioles now that they've gone to the pen.
And again, he just slaps it away, spoils it to stay alive. So Kipnis really working here. He's about to see the 9th pitch in this at bat. The Indians have left 9 men on base over their first 5 at bats. 2 outs and nobody on here in the 6th. And he lost it. So Kipnis wins the battle. He's been on base all 4 times in this game. Draws his 3rd walk plus a single. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Let's look at Progressive Field on the sunny side. Considerably cooler on the Indian side. They're in the third base dugout. And here is Santana with a stolen base threat on at first.
Big swing, big aggressive swing.
Tail end of batting practice, Carlos was having a big chat with Jimmy Paredes and Ray Navarro of the Orioles. They were out there chatting for about 15-20 minutes. The tail end of the Indians BP. The Dominican players know each other from home, and they get reacquainted when they play each other here in the big league season.
And then Ray Navarro from Puerto Rico, so he might have played somewhere along the line because he's been around a little bit. Gee, hard to believe Santana's got himself into a hitter's count.
It's some mindset he has, Jim, the patience that he displays in each at bat. Good changeup.
Yeah, way out in front. Just couldn't quite pick up the arm speed and the movement. Sets up the rest of the at bat. Because if you'll do it 2-1, you'll do it 2-2 and 3-2.
Oh, this one's down towards the corner. That's trouble. Young's going to have to hurry. Kipnis can run. He's going to be sent. Here comes the throw into Flaherty, and no relay to the plate, and the Indians have the lead. A 2-out rally and another walk does in the Orioles as Carlos Santana delivers.
Well, I talked about it's going to take something. Well, the double certainly, that'll change it. The ball's up and in. He short strokes it, gets the bat head to it, and the fact that Kipnis can run really doesn't matter. I mean, hit your cutoff man, and there's the second run of the afternoon. It's all it takes in the one-run ball games.
So each run that the Indians have scored, the runner got on via a walk.
And not only do they get a second run, they get another runner in scoring position with their best RBI guy coming to the plate.
Michael Brantley singled his last at bat. Indians have had base runners in all 6 innings in this game. Big run out there at second base.
Well, they've won 12 of their last 17 games. You're with us. They went 7-14, then they went 17-12 the month of May. If they ever start hitting as a team with runners in scoring position, this will be some offense. Brantley already does that, but I mean the rest of the lineup.
It's just very impressive how they work the count and take the walks. I mean, obviously today Ubaldo didn't have his command, but still, you have to have that mindset of being patient, and they seem to have it to a man.
Well, that's why their on base percentages. You know, last night it was over 330. Better on base percentages. But the fact they get them on but not in, if that changes. And to me, they look like they're a little bit better hitting team than a 233 hitter with runner in scoring position. League average are usually around 251. Up a little bit this year.
They are 5th in the league in team batting.
Wow.
They just don't chase. It's amazing.
Well, again, I don't think that he saw it. I don't think the umpire saw it. It was probably a knee-high strike, but Chad Fairchild has certainly established behind the plate he's not calling the low pitch. And there is their hitting instructor, Van Berkeley, 3rd year here in Cleveland. Of course, this guy really changed. I mean, he sets the tone for this whole ball club. He's that good a hitter. Doesn't overswing. If you walk him, he'll take it. He can hit home runs if you speed up the bat.
Strike on the corner.
Right there, he's looking inside half, so he takes the pitcher's pitch in a hitting count.
So this inning began 2 outs and nobody on. The long at bat by Kipnis, who drew the walk. And he got him. So he gets out of it without any further damage, but the Indians do get the lead. A 2-out walk and an RBI double. We head to the 7th. 2-1 try.
A big home run, number 9, Manny Machado down the right field line here in Cleveland. Orioles leading it 1-0. And then after 3 walks, fixed in a double play. Swisher with a ground ball single will tie it up. 3rd inning, 1-1. And then after another walk, Carlos Santana with a double down the line off of Brad Brock. It'll make it 2-1, which is where we stand. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. Salazar, what an afternoon he's had.
McHagedon now getting loose. 1-run game as we get to the 7th. Here's Wieters. Line drive right field, falling for a base hit. Matt Wieters has a leadoff single. So in this tie 2-1 game.
Well, he got the Tommy John surgery last May, but he has revamped his swing from the left side. We talked about it last night. Lower foot kick. The bat is through the zone, the plane of the bat, Matt. And I thought when we talked to him after the game, he kind of explained. He said, "The hitting has not been a problem because I've gotten so many at bats."
Right.
It's the fact that he hasn't done. He had to back off the throwing part of it after he played that exhibition game on March 17th.
Steve Pearce will take a strike. Double play ball. Chisenhall, Kipnis, Santana.
Yeah, they put the shift on. That really didn't have a lot to do with it, but Steve Pearce, a pull hitter. Salazar gives up the fastball, base hit. Then he throws Pearce a slider, and all Chisenhall really has to hit the second baseman. It's tailor-made. With one pitch, they get 2 outs, and the Orioles get the tying run off base.
Second double play Orioles have hit it in this game. Here's J.J. Hardy. Upstairs, 1-0. The difference in this game has been the fact that Salazar has not walked a batter, while Oriole pitching has walked 7, and 2 of the 7 have scored. So those extra base runners, the Indians are frustrated. They've left 10 men on base in 6 innings.
The Orioles are very fortunate that the score is only 2-1, and for that reason, they're still in the ballgame. Salazar pitching very much in control. And you get your bullpen up because you may want to match up. Pitch count right at about 100.
Strike 3 called. So there's strikeout number 10, his 4th 10 strikeout game of the year, 7th inning stretch in Cleveland. Returns from the DL. He'll take the mound against Carlos Carrasco. Our coverage on Masson begins at 12:30 with those extra presented by Jeep, and then game coverage at 1 o'clock. We've got all the access you need right here on Masson.
Bud Norris, he will come off the disabled list. He pitched 4 innings on Wednesday. He'll come back on short rest. Carlos Carrasco, you can see the numbers: low ERA, low WHIP. Nice little record at 7-4.
Yeah, Bud had a real good turn for Norfolk the other day. Brad Brock stays on, swing and a miss by Moss. A 2-out walk last inning to Kipnis set it up for the Indians to get the lead. RBI double by Santana. Obviously, the Indians don't mind at the moment. They have the lead, but since the home teams determine start times, you wonder why not play a 1 o'clock game today, and then the shadows aren't a factor.
That's a good point.
And then you play at 1 o'clock tomorrow, you just as easily.
Well, I think what you try to do is stagger them so maybe you get a little bit more rest. The dreaded day game after a night game. It's not that you don't play it. You usually do it on Sunday. Didn't want to do it.
Ooh. Center field and deep. Adam Jones is back at the wall, reaches up, and he's got it. And thank you, Mother Nature, as the wind kept that one in.
Yeah, that ball is going up on the patio up there. And I mean, he skied it, belted it. But then again, Brandon Moss, he played in Oakland, so he knows what it's like to hit in a big ballpark. Nice grab by Adam. Still had to get there, still had to be under control, and he was. It's one of those information pitches. You don't want to be throwing it when the Indians come to Baltimore at the end of the month.
Well, here is Swisher, who has been on base all 3 times. First ball swinging, fouls it off. Look out in the dugout. And take a look at this bat, Jim. It almost looks like it has tiger stripes. Is that a legal bat?
I wouldn't put anything past Nick Swisher.
Oh, look at that. I've never seen a bat like that. Do you think he designed it?
I don't know.
Hey, I want my own bat. Let's get some stripes going on. What, the tape and the pine tar and stripes.
Gave me $56 million. I'd show up and won't play like that too.
Looking cool.
I'd be styling. No doubt about it.
Styling.
I could never look. I mean, I just couldn't do that. I don't mean this in a derogatory way. I just couldn't imagine. That takes work. I mean, you got the wristbands. And the late Jim Northrup, the opening day in Detroit, would be about 28 degrees. He'd have the double wristbands on. You're going, what for? I mean, you couldn't sweat. It would turn into an icicle. He's got the double wristbands on. Thought he was playing at Wimbledon.
Swisher now 34, 12th season in the big leagues. He grew up in Parkersburg, West Virginia, and in college at Ohio State.
Well, his dad was a major leaguer. I mean, a good catcher, Steve Swisher.
Another prolonged at bat here, and he got him. Fooled by the pitch, couldn't foul it off. He's nodding, yep, I swung as he walks away. Look at that. So the third strikeout for Brad Brock and 2 away. Nice of him to agree with the umpire. Yep, you got me. You got me. So 2 down. Here's Lonnie Chisenhall.
Gotta love it. I'm telling you. No boring. Never a dull moment.
Chisenhall is 0 for 3 with a couple of punch outs. Outside corner, inside corner. He's down in the count.
Yeah, he goes, just throw it. It's going to be a strike on me this afternoon.
And he got him. So Brad Brock has a 3-up, 3-down 7th after allowing a run in the 6th. We'll head to the 8th. 6 outs to work with. Birds are down by a run. Coming up, Orioles catcher Caleb Joseph will be signing autographs and meeting fans from 11 a.m. until noon at the official Orioles team store in the York Galleria. Don't miss your chance to meet Caleb and browse the latest official Orioles gear. That is this Thursday, June 11th, from 11 a.m. until noon at the official Orioles team store in the York Galleria. For more information and the complete calendar of Orioles community events, visit OriolesReach.com.
Yeah, if you are in the neighborhood, go see him. A very engaging young man.
He is. I've been to that team store in New York. It's very nice.
Signing autographs?
No, actually, well, no, not really.
That's what I thought.
It was a team event, but I was the other guy.
You're the other guy.
And I'm fine with that.
Oh, I'm going to leave it at that.
1-0 to Ryan Flaherty as Salazar stays in.
Yeah, he's in the sun now. Not as many shadows. Still, I mean, tremendous stuff today. I mean, 95, we've seen a couple of fastballs, 97. We've seen some curved balls for a strikeout. We've seen cutters. We've seen the splitter. And meanwhile, while the Orioles are walking the world, he hadn't walked anybody.
Very pitch efficient.
Well, for a power pitcher, it is. I mean, averages 17 pitches per inning.
Good take there by Ryan.
Well, you need to get a base runner. And
Hagedon and Shaw getting loose. Shaw, the righty, Hagedon, the lefty. So 3-1 on Flaherty. Lines it foul the other way, back in the crowd. The most he has faced in any inning is 4 batters. That has happened 4 of the 7 innings. And he does have 2 3-up, 3-down innings in the 4th and in the 5th. 3-2 on Flaherty leading off in the Oriole 8th. And he fouls it off to stay alive.
yeah, he is totally unpredictable. He'll throw pretty much any pitch at any time. Right there, he doesn't want to walk him, and look like a little cutter, maybe a change up. He took a little bit off.
And Ryan about to see the 7th pitch in this at bat. On a 3-2 pitch. And he walked him. A leadoff walk in the 8th and a 1-run game. Real good at bat for Ryan Flaherty. First walk of the game allowed by Salazar. And here comes the skipper, Terry Francona. So Salazar can win. He can't lose. The tying run is on at base. And rightly so, these fans are going to give him a real big ovation. So Salazar leaves, Shaw comes on. Orioles get the leadoff man on in the 8th.
Coming in, a terrific performance, only the one run, even though the tying run is on first base. Used all his pitches, pretty much maybe a few more breaking balls today, less changeups. And now Brian Shaw will come on to try to do what guys of his ilk are supposed to do, which is get holes. He's got 7 holes. That's 15th in the American League. So he's been around, 3rd year, came out of the Arizona organization. Hard thrower, nice little cut fastball. So the numbers lefties struggling a little bit more than righties. So a guy that can get almost anybody out.
Ryan Flaherty on with a leadoff walk representing the tying run. Inherited runners for Shaw. 16 of 22 have been stranded. Caleb is showing bunt. And he does bunt it. And it's a real good one. Carlos Santana to first, so Buck Showalter, even on the road trying to get this game tied, lays down the bunt, and Caleb executes.
Well, your bullpen has been pitching well and relatively well rested. So you asked Caleb to do what a lot of people can't, which is sacrifice. And gave himself up early, but perfect bunt.
His first sack of the year. So Flaherty, the leadoff walk, now in scoring position with good speed. For the Orioles, that is only their 9th sacrifice on the year. Showalter usually doesn't go to that part of strategy with giving up outs to get runners over. Turns the lineup over. Here's Machado. Outside. Manny in the 3rd inning gave the Orioles an early lead.
Yeah, really the only ball, crushed right down the right field line at the time, gave the Orioles a 1-0 lead. Home run number 9. Orioles would take a soft single somewhere. That's that little cutter.
I would think just the fact that Salazar's out of there, the Orioles have to be feeling better about it.
Well, he was that good. Very low number for Manny Machado at 212. When healthy the last 2 years, well over 300 runners in scoring position. Kind of a backup slider that swing right through. And that's one of the amazing things to me about Manny, who was able to keep his poise. A lot of hitters, the game will speed up and expand the strike zone with runners in scoring position. The last couple of healthy years, again in the 300 range. There's another cutter.
Brian Shaw pitched at Long Beach State, his college ball. His 3rd season with the Indians. Tying run at second. Ryan Flaherty 1 down. And 2-2 on Machado. And he popped them up. Breaking ball. Bourne comes in. And he calls off the shortstop Ramirez. And that's a big out for Brian Shaw.
Yeah, first curveball he saw. It wasn't low and away, but it fooled him. Hence the pop-up.
Well, Delman Young coming up. He's already in the batter's box, and the catcher isn't even behind the plate yet.
Well, he's ready to hit. Well, he comes in at 400 runners in scoring position. I think this is one of the reasons that Buck Showalter sacrifice, gave up an out here in the 8th inning. Figured either Manny or Young would get him in.
Pop foul out of play. That'll be in the crowd.
And Delman's tough to play because he can hit it anywhere. He can be late on a fastball, or he can be out in front. I mean, you can throw him a low and away slider. He can golf it to center. He can poke it down the right field line. Here's our Cabral, called up yesterday.
0-1 on Delman with a runner at second and 2 down. Good check.
And a good breaking ball, too.
Delman 1 for 3. He is 13 for his last 36. Fouled off again to the right. Gelman with 14 RBIs. Just one on the road trip.
Yeah, I think Gelman would, and he bats the ball right down the right field line in Houston. Up and away with 2 strikes. I think he'd like to wait 5 minutes so the shadows could just pass on the pitcher. You can still see right on the side of the face of Brian Shaw. He's still a little bit out of the sun.
Chopper. Santana comes in to get it. He'll go to the base unassisted. And Brian Shaw does the job as the leadoff walk is left stranded. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Orioles down 2-1. Orioles.com/vote orange. You could earn ticket discounts plus the chance to win an autographed All-Star Game jersey. You can vote up to 35 times with each valid email address. So keep voting orange and get your birds into that starting lineup. Again, Orioles.com/vote orange. Brad Brock stays on with Gomes leading off. There's a lefty on deck, Michael Bourne. Cabral was getting loose. He's still getting loose. Now for the Orioles in the 9th, it'll be Jones, Davis, and Wieters for the heart of the lineup, 3, 4, and 5. Good off-speed pitch, 0-2.
Yeah, Brad Brock, other than the walk and the double, he's done a nice job. Keeps you pretty much where you were.
Lazy fly ball to center field. Adam Jones in the shadows and emerges out of the shadows, has it for the out, and one away here in the 8th inning. Well, be sure to text Masson's word of the day, which is retire, to 29292. And we're going to have a pitching change. I'll tell you more about that in a moment as Brad Brock leaves. He goes 2 1/3. Is the pitcher of record on the minus side here as he allowed the tie-breaking run. Cabral is going to come out and make his Orioles debut.
appearance for the Orioles, a terrific job in the minor league free agent that was signed I think back in December, pitched a couple of times, 12 games for the Yankees over 2013 and 14 after he had a fractured elbow. So he missed all of 2012. So he comes up, he pitches both AA and AAA, 21 games scoreless inning. There's what we were talking about. Norfolk and then AA. Louis didn't walk a lot of guys, and only 2 in 17 and 2/3 innings. And more strikeouts than innings pitched, less hits than innings pitched. Exactly the numbers you want.
Parts of 9 different seasons in the minor leagues. Brad Brock with 2 1/3. He did allow the go-ahead run. So Cabral with 1 out and none on takes over. It's outside 1-0.
Yeah, he was not in the Orioles spring training camp. He was in the minor league camp, but not in the major league camp.
And inside, board showed bunt.
And a couple of sliders. One that he held on too long. The other one he got under.
Well, Cabral has certainly worked his way through the division as he falls behind 3-0. He was signed by the Red Sox. Then Tampa Bay took him in the Rule 5 draft. The Blue Jays took him on a waiver claim. Then he went back to Tampa on waivers. Then to Kansas City, and there's a 4-pitch walk. The Yankees purchased him from the Royals, and now he's with the Orioles organization. So he has been in all 5 of the AL East organizations. Mike Avila's going to pinch hit.
Yeah, for Ramirez, and talked about the fact that again, he's such a good utility guy. Played shortstop last night. That's where he'll go in, and then you get the matchup you want. Even though he hits righties better than lefties, because he can hit both of them. And there is Jose Ramirez, who is a switch hitter, but struggling with the bat. And there's a strike. 8 walks today. That's what I have on my card.
I concur.
I wish that wasn't the case, but it is.
Orioles will have to make yet another roster move tomorrow. Cabral is the 19th different pitcher used by the Orioles this year. Bud Norris will have to be activated off the disabled list to make tomorrow's start.
Yeah, this could be his performance, at least for the moment, for the Orioles. Brian Mattis suspended. 7 more days now on that suspension.
Buck Showalter said Brady Anderson checked in from Sarasota. Brian pitched in a game. He's in Sarasota to keep the arm strong.
Pitched 2 innings and struck out 6.
Yeah. So 2-2 on Avilas. And tossed to first to Chase Bourne, who at one time was the elite stolen baseman in the National League. Career high 61 twice.
Well, that's why they got him. You know, they thought he'd be a good leadoff guy. You can see that hasn't worked. Kipnis is doing a better job, so he's hitting 8.
Ground ball to short. Hardy, second one. Flaherty back to first. There's a double play. So Cabral, after the walk, gets the double play, and that ends the inning. Well, here we go. We're heading to the 9th. Jones, Davis, and Wieters coming up. The Birds are down by a run. brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Cleveland River. Away, and here's the closer on Cody Allen.
Yeah, fastball, big breaking ball, or hard breaking ball, and moment of truth. This is 12 out of 13, 24 saves for the Indians last year. There are the numbers. High ERA because he's had a couple of games where he's given it up, but more strikeouts in innings pitched, and the walks a little bit higher than you would like to see. And then the right-handers hitting them better than lefties. So fly ball pitcher with the Orioles sending up the heart of their lineup, that these guys can hit some fly balls. See how this matchup is. So there's VLC goes pinch hits, bounces in a double play, and then goes to shortstop. So now pitcher and hitter. There's maybe a touch of a shadow, but not as pronounced as before.
And the breeze has died down a little bit. Still blowing.
No, it's definitely knocked down some balls. The ones hit straight away, the one that Moss hit, looked like he was going to go about 430 feet. Jones caught it at the base of the wall. And the Machado home run down the right field line did carry.
Chisenhall at third is a step behind the bag to represent or respect the bunting ability of Adam. Ball one high.
So high strike zone, power pitcher who likes to pitch up. And then a hitter at the plate that has home runs in his last two games. Yeah, there's the breaking ball, and it's a sharp one.
He's 12 out of 13 in his save opportunities. And it's so strange to see a closer with an ERA of 5.01. And of course, when they usually work one inning at a time, you have one bad outing and it fleets it. It takes a long time to chip it away.
Yeah, they just care about it, what his percentage is, and it's 92%, only the one blown save.
Inside, nearly hit him.
And he'll even go up higher, that percentage, if he gets the save. If not, it'll be 12 out of 14. But he does walk people. And the Orioles hopefully have the right people coming to the plate.
Jones ahead 2-1. Foul tip into the glove of Gomes.
And probably ball three. But Adam, a very aggressive hitter, and he airs it out on one around the letters. He gets one a little bit below the 10 on in front of his uniform. That's the hot zone. It was really hard to get on top of a ball right around the lettering of the Oriole uniform.
And he got it, high heat. Big first out by Cody Allen.
Yeah, shadows or not, you don't see as well as when the lights come into effect. So Powder River, yeah, I got a good breaking ball, but I can also throw 94, and then he gets him to go for one out of the zone.
So here's Chris Davis, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. And be sure to text Masson's word of the day, which is retire, to 29292 for your chance to win a meet and greet with Chris Davis. That's retire to 29292 for your chance to win, courtesy of Outback Steakhouse. Don't forget, your grads and dads get a $10 bonus with a $50 Outback gift card purchase. One and one. Jones strikeout, the 11th Oriole strikeout in this game. And a good take.
Yeah, he wants them to chase that. Chris is looking to hopefully get something down in the zone, out over the plate. Or maybe a breaking ball that speeds up the bat and ends up in the center of the plate. Not even close.
wants a new baseball. They fell behind Jones 2-1, came back to get him. Now he's 3-1 on Davis. Orioles down by a run. And outside, ball 4. So the time run is on with 1 down.
Now stepping in for the Orioles, the designated hitter, Matt Wieters.
So good job there by Chris Davis. Very patient, worked the walk.
And we saw a very quick bat by Matt Wieters. And we got a base hit up the last time, but even the first time, he skied one into the wind. And then, of course, yesterday hit one over David Murphy's head in left field for a run-scoring double after Chris Davis walked.
Goes after a breaking ball and swings through it. Travis Snyder on deck to pinch hit for Steve Pearce to get a lefty up against Cody Allen. The Orioles held to 1 run thus far on the solo home run by Manny Machado.
Huge strike zone. Like one of those curveballs that if you're pitching you want it, and if you're a hitter you would say, don't you think that ball went around the plate?
So Wieters down in the count, 0-2. And he got him. Ball got away. Davis going to second base. He is out at second base, and that's how the game ends.
Well, Yan Jones, I mean, number 1, he blocks it. Number 2, he came in throwing out 4 out of 10, making 5 out of 11. Perfect throw to end the game.